I guess the first day that I come to Lakewood was in 1984. Brother Ray Simmons was the pastor then, and I knew the minute I walked through the door that this was where I belonged. And through thick and thin, I've been here ever since then. And I've loved the church. I never thought that I'd see the church in the shape it's in today, because it has been through some rough times. When I first came here, there wasn't no fellowship hall. We had a building fund. A pastor by the name of Levi Patton started what he called a block fund, which was raising money to buy cement blocks to build the fellowship hall that is existing there today. And another lady in the church, Sister Lakey Dixon, and I were working at a convenience store, and we had our fund for the convenience store was cerebral palsy, and they gave us cans to put by the cash register for people to put their loose change in for cerebral palsy. So one day the guy came around to collect the money, and he brought 2 new cans, and he took the other 2. I asked him what he's going to do. He said, throw them in the dumpster. I said, oh, can I have them? And he said, yeah. So I took them and covered them with contact paper, kind of prettied them up a little bit, and Sister Dixon and I would go, and we'd go in a subdivision. We'd park at the end of the street, and I'd go down one side and she'd go down one side, and we'd go door to door. Back then, Levi Patton found a connection through somebody where he could buy blocks. If you bought so many, you could get them for a quarter a piece. Now, they weren't first-class top blocks. I hate to tell you this, but those fellowship halls are made out of seconds. But we would buy those, and we'd take that can and go from door to door, and hardly, there was, I don't know, might have been 1 or 2 refused to give anything, but you know, if you just ask people for a quarter, they read it right away. Most of them never give a quarter. Whatever change they had, they'd just give you all of it. One day in particular, I remember, we were down here at 52 in Little Road, and there's a tavern, a bar there, and we were going in the places, and I had been down to the far end of that, and come back and to the car, and I didn't see Sister Dixon. Well, I started walking and looking for her, and I walked around the corner, and she was coming out of this bar. I said, Dixon, what in the world you been doing in that bar? She said, well, I've been selling cookbooks. There's one man sitting there on the bar, and she said, I told him he better buy a cookbook and take home to his wife so she wouldn't be mad at him because he'd been in the bar. And she said, you know, he bought 2 from me. So that kind of tickled me, because I wouldn't have never gone in there to sell a cookbook. But she was quite a lady. But we've been through a lot, but I just know that the Lord, I knew all time that this church was where I belonged, and that this church would be what it is today. But I just never did think that I would live to see it. And the first day that there was 100 people in this church. I think I cried during the whole service. I was just so rejoicing in the Lord that it had come where it's come, because it's really been a struggle. But the Lord, I knew all the time, some way I knew. I didn't hear a voice. I didn't hear God speak to me, but I just knew in my heart that this was God meant for this church to be here, because several times it come to where people would say, church members, well, I don't know, it looks like the place is going to be locked up. I wouldn't be surprised if we come and there's not a padlock on the door. And I'd say, well, I don't know. I'm going to come till that day, and then I'll look for another church. So I'm just so happy to be a part of this church. And I'm so happy that God sent us Brother Jonathan, because without him, I don't think it would have happened. And I think he's the man that God knew all the time that he was going to bring him here. I'm so happy and thank God for this church.